Teachers have two responsibilities with respect to helping develop word knowledge for students. On the one hand, it's important to just build their general store of known words. And that can come through print experiences, drawing attention to interesting words, giving kids lots of opportunities to use words. But at the same time, in middle and high school classrooms, we're also responsible for helping them develop knowledge of discipline-specific words or technical vocabulary. And that's a bigger challenge in some ways because often these words have very restricted applications. So another neat strategy is this idea of like vocabulary self-assessment or vocabulary rating, where you provide words to students at the outset of a unit or a lesson and have them make determinations about what their knowledge level is with these words. And it might be very superficial, it may be non-existent with some words. But as they go through the learning process or go through the unit, they can return to that chart or whatever you're using as a framework for those words and start to fill it in. And that's a real nice feedback tool for them to see how their knowledge about important concepts and terminology has grown over the course of the unit.
I want you to look at the word equation. Do you see another word inside this word? What other word can you see?
Equal.
Equal. Okay, that's really important. An equation will always have an equal sign. Let's write the definition that includes the equal sign.
With some language learners, we can take advantage of the fact that words that we're trying to get them to learn may have similar sounds, similar features, similar roots in their native tongues.
It's definitely very helpful to try and build a bridge between English and, in this case, Spanish. And I think we're lucky in our class that all of the kids are Spanish speakers. There are a lot of cognates, words that sound similar in English and in Spanish that the kids can relate to, or maybe parts of the word, like the equal in equation. So parts of the words that they know. So if we emphasize looking for things that are familiar to them, a prefix or a suffix, or the root of the word, like constant, the idea of a constant in solving an equation, the number by itself that doesn't change. That's very similar to the word in Spanish. So sometimes that can be very useful in building on a student's prior knowledge of language and helping them understand new vocabulary terms.
I want you to think about a balance, okay? If two things are equal, they're exactly the same. One is not bigger, not smaller, they're exactly equal. So if we want to write it using symbols, can someone give me an example of an equation?
Oh, like 25 and 25.
So 25 is equal to 25.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That would be a mathematical sentence stating that two quantities are equal. Now, what if we use what Miguel talked about earlier? Because an equation that we have in class is probably something that we may not know. Like we know 25 is equal to 25. Sometimes there's going to be an equation using a variable, and we won't necessarily know. So how could I write a statement with a variable? Maybe x plus 2 equals 25. Okay. So do we know what x is yet? No. But we know that whatever x plus 2 is, it's exactly equal to 25. And that's a statement. That's like a sentence. X plus 2 equals 25. I could even write that out in words with a sentence if I wanted to. Now, an expression will be different from an equation.
On some of our standardized tests that we take, we can't help the kids with translation. So I try and tell the kids, look for as many contextual clues as you can in a sentence. Look for the words that you know, and maybe the words that you don't know aren't the important ones. So don't just give up on a problem if you don't know a few words. There's an element of perseverance, I think, in learning a language. And I've had kids do wonderfully, exceeded all expectations I could have in situations where it was all in English, very difficult. Having vocabulary up around the room and referring to it can be very helpful. Asking kids a lot of questions, checking for understanding. But definitely literacy is not just in language arts.